You know that feeling, right? It's just so frustrating. You spend hours, maybe even days studying something. You feel like you've totally got it down. And then, when it really matters, poof, it's just gone.
I mean, it's the classic student nightmare. You cram like crazy for a big exam, you manage to pass, and then a week later, someone asks you about the topic, and it's a total blank, like nothing. All that hard work just seems to evaporate. But here's the thought. What if the problem isn't that you're not studying hard enough, but that you're not studying smart enough?
Well, that's what we're going to dig into today. There's this incredibly powerful strategy backed by a ton of research called interleaving. It's designed to make what you learn actually stick. But here's the twist, and it's a big one. It's also one of the most misunderstood ideas out there. A lot of people think they're doing it, but they're not, and using it the wrong way, it's basically useless. So today, we're going to set the record straight.
All right, so first up, we've got to clear the air. We need to tackle all the confusion and myths surrounding what interleaving really is.
Yeah, because to really understand it, we first have to figure out what it isn't. You'd be surprised how many people hear that word interleaving and their mind just jumps to the completely wrong idea.
Okay, let's get really clear on this. Interleaving is not spacing out your study sessions. That's a different thing called spaced practice, which is also awesome, by the way. But it's not this. And it's definitely not just randomly mashing together different subjects, like doing a math problem, then a history question, then a French verb. That's just chaos. The real magic of interleaving is way more focused and strategic than that.
And to really get it, you have to see it side by side with the way that, let's be honest, most of us were taught to practice just about everything.
And this really says it all, doesn't it? On the left, you've got blocked practice. This is what we all know. You do all your A problems, then all your B problems, then all your C problems. You master one skill at a time. But look at the right. That's interleaved practice. It's ABC, ABC, ABC. You're constantly switching between related skills all in the same practice session.
And boom, here it is. This is the big aha moment. Blocked practice is great for learning how to do something when you're told exactly what to do. But in the real world or on a real test, nobody tells you which formula to use. Interleaving builds that much more important skill, being able to look at a problem and figure out which strategy you need to pull from your mental toolbox.
The baseball analogy just nails it. Think about it. Blocked practice is like a batter who gets 10 fastballs thrown at them in a row. They're going to get really good at hitting fastballs. But the second the pitcher throws a curveball, they're completely lost. The interleaved batter, on the other hand, is playing the real game. They have to judge every single pitch. Is it a fastball, a curve, a changeup? They're learning the crucial skill of choosing the right response. That's what wins games.
Okay, so we get what it is, but why does it work? Why does making things feel a little harder right now actually lead to way better learning down the road?
Well, it comes down to this amazing concept from cognitive science called desirable difficulty. And the idea is pretty simple. When our brain has to struggle a little bit to recall something, that struggle itself makes the memory stronger and more permanent. It's just like lifting weights at the gym. The resistance is exactly what builds the muscle. Interleaving is like the perfect workout for your brain.
So, what's happening in your brain during this workout? It's something called discriminative contrast. Every time you switch from one problem type to another, you force your brain to compare them. It has to ask, wait, how is this different from the last one? And that constant act of spotting the differences, of telling similar ideas apart, is what builds deep, flexible knowledge. You're not just memorizing facts in isolation, you're building a connected web of understanding.
Just look at a problem set like this one. If this were a blocked assignment, you'd just be on autopilot, applying the same formula over and over. But with an interleaved set, every single problem makes you stop, even for a split second, and ask yourself that critical question. Okay, what am I actually looking at here? What's the right tool for this job? That moment of choice, that little bit of extra effort, that is desirable difficulty in action.
Now this all sounds great in theory, but what happens when you actually test it out in the real world? Let's look at the data, because it's pretty mind-blowing.
So, in one of the most famous studies on this, researchers went into a real 7th grade math class. For 9 weeks, they split the students into 2 groups. One group got their homework the old-fashioned way, all blocked together. The other group got the exact same math problems, but all mixed up, interleaved.
Then, 2 weeks after all the lessons were done, they gave everyone a surprise test. The kids who did the normal block practice, they scored an average of 38%. Oof.
And what about the group that got the interleaved homework? Their average score was 72%.
I mean, come on, that's not just a little better, it's a completely different level of performance.
Let's just look at that comparison. We're not talking about a 5 or 10% improvement here. The interleaved group almost doubled the score of the other group just by changing the order of the problems. It's some of the most powerful evidence you'll ever see that a little bit of struggle up front pays off in a huge way later.
The proof is in the pudding. The results are clear. So the only question left is, how do we actually do this? How can you use this for yourself or for your students? And honestly, it's pretty straightforward. If you're a teacher, it means you mix different types of problems into every assignment. Use quizzes that cover stuff from earlier in the year. If you're a student, it means when you're studying Chapter 3, don't just stick to Chapter 3 problems. Go back and throw in a few from Chapters 1 and 2. But, and this is the golden rule, always mix things that are related, things you might actually confuse with each other. Don't mix chemistry and history. That's just random.
This quote from a teacher really sums it all up beautifully. Interleaving isn't about finding more time to study or buying new textbooks. It's about taking the material you already have and just using it in a much smarter, more effective way. It is literally the definition of working smarter, not harder.
So the big takeaway here is that a tiny change in the order you practice can make a massive difference in how well you actually learn. It forces you to build flexible, durable knowledge that you can actually call upon when you need it. So I'll leave you with this question. What are you going to practice differently?